Well, hello, my friends. It is great to have you here, and I am thrilled to get to teach you another topic of something that can help you when creating that self awareness in your life. So, this one right here that I am doing is on the unintentional thinking that you're having in your life when it comes to prove energy. And one thing I always want to share is when I talk about energy, like some people are kind of like, oh, what exactly is that or how does that look? It is energy really is emotion. So it's the feelings we have that's in motion, which is what an emotion is. And it drives us to do things or not to do things. And when I go dive into the unintentional model, which I will today, you will see maybe a little bit of insight on where that energy is coming from for you. And it all does stem from what you think and believe about what's going on in your life. And so, with that note, let us dive in to the triads. So, these are three different triads. This content I'm sharing right here, and even with the model that I'm sharing, is not my own original content. These are from different locations, and I just kind of put them all together in creating the webinar that I did when I was coaching clients and doing the webinar for them. So, just so that you know, it's just kind of a pieces here and there, and then I create the content to share with you. So, this right here, we're going to start over here, is the drama triad. And you might have heard of it before, but I'm going to go ahead and share with you some things. And this might be a review for you. You might have heard of all of these before, and that's great. And hopefully this will be some good review to kind of connect some dots that might be missing for you. So here is the drama triad. And when it comes to the drama triad, we have three different kinds of characters that we can show up in our lives. And that is the hero, the victim, and the villain. And in our lives, when we are in what I call prove energy kind of state, we are trying to prove that everything outside of us is what is causing our problem. Or because this is happening, this is why my life is the way it is. Or if this person would just change, things would be better. And we show up in these three different characters. We either show up as a hero, a victim, or a villain when we believe that it's something outside of us that is creating the problem. And we will dive in deeper when I go to the unintentional model. But this is just something to keep in mind, that when we are in a state of feeling like we are in victimhood, when we're feeling like we need to go in and become a hero and swoop up and help people, or if we are in the state of villainhood, this is just the way in which things kind of show up in our lives. And this gives you kind of that little bit of information to help you see, oh, I might be in prove energy right now. This might be coming from a thought that is not necessarily serving me, and this is why I'm portraying a villain, a hero, or a victim. Now, when it comes to being in this energy, this is kind of the motivational factor behind that energy, right? Behind that prove energy. And when it comes to prove energy, when it comes to our motive of why we're doing something, what we're believing, right? When we're the hero, victim, or villain, we want to seek pleasure. So we want to try to find the pleasure that we're looking for. At the same time, we want to avoid pain, like no pain, please. I don't want to have this being painful. And we want to do it the easiest way possible. We want to conserve as much energy as possible. And so when you look at this, it really comes down to that these kind of ways in which we portray ourselves in life when we're in that energy mode is coming from a sense of wanting to seek pleasure, avoid pain, or do it the easiest way possible. So these two triads really complement each other as far as helping us become aware that the energy behind our actions is prove energy. That we are showing up in a way that we are not at a state or in a state of mind at the moment that we can stop and pause, or we're choosing not to stop and pause and look at ourselves and our piece of the puzzle. Do you want to possibly look at a different way of viewing things that are happening? And when you can kind of step back and decide, I am willing to look at something different, just to explore if there is a different way I could respond to things. Because right now, what I've been doing for a long time is exhausting. I'm overwhelmed. I'm frustrated. I'm not getting the results that I want. I'm not connecting with people the way I want to. I am feeling drained. And because of that, I am willing to step outside for a second, take a pause, and maybe look at what's going on. So these two things, these two triads, are all focused on outward. It's what's happening out here that is the problem. I just need to seek pleasure, like for myself. I need to avoid pain, right? If it's painful, I don't want to do it, and I got to do it the easiest way possible. So these things are not looking at the long-term gain. It's not looking at how is it that at this moment, if this is difficult for you, and it's going to take courage for you to get through it, how is that going to benefit you? As opposed to being that this is painful, I don't want to feel this way, so therefore I completely avoid it. And I choose not to take the courageous action of actually getting to the real problem, looking at what really could be happening, instead of keeping on this cycle of what I keep on doing and recycling everything that's going on and not stepping back and seeing that there's maybe a different way. So that's kind of how those two things work, those two triads. Now this triad is a reflection of the drama triad. So when we start to look inside of ourselves, when we start to decide to get into creation energy, which like I said, we'll talk about later in another episode, we start to decide to challenge ourselves and think, what could be a different way for me to look at it? We coach ourselves through things. How do I want to show up in this certain situation? How do I want to respond? What am I willing to help with, and what am I not to? And how is that okay for me? Like, what does that look like? Create, instead of being, how can I create more solutions? How can I create, different ways to look at this so that I can get through this? This is when we start going inward to self. And when we start to do that, we are then coming from a place of creation energy. We are wanting to create our reality, and we're wanting to create our future of what we see us doing. Because remember, when we talked about before, that prove energy is past focus. Prove energy is deciding, well, this is how I've done it before, so I'm going to continue to do it this way. Even if now doing that way doesn't serve you very well, you still do it. So this is being kind of stuck in that loop. All right, so let's go into an unintentional model or an unintentional thinking. Now, when it comes to thinking or writing down our thoughts that are scrambled in our head, this really can be very helpful. When we start to take a thought that we've had, maybe a thought we've had for a long time that we feel like we repeat and believe, starting to look at it and why it is that we might be believing that, and how is that maybe causing us to stall, and is that coming from a sense of prove energy? Am I trying to avoid pain, seek pleasure, do it the easiest way possible? Am I portraying the characteristics of a villain, a victim, or a hero? And how is that showing up in my life? So I took the idea of scheduling. This is a circumstance. This is personally one that I have worked on for myself. And this is a model that I've done on that. Now, when I talk about a model is a way in which to create awareness around your thinking process. And this is a way that I have been certified as a life coach in doing to coach my clients through this on a much deeper level. But right here, I want to give you the basics of it so you can kind of see how you can use it for yourself and just creating that moment where you're like, oh, this is a thought I've had for a while. Because the next video you're going to see is going to be on awareness, and that's going to be on just sitting in it, which is one of the parts in owning your energy. Like, right, we have prove energy, so we have to first of all see the pattern of it. So there's the prove energy, what that looks like, how it shows up. Now we got to see the pattern of it. That's here, right here, the unintentional thinking, understanding how it shows up, and then thirdly is going to be sitting in awareness of it. Like, what does that look like? How can I learn from this? What do I need to learn from this? What can I let go of? What do I need to keep? And then the next part will be, now how do I create more, and then go into an intentional model, something I do want, intentional thinking, like I'm choosing my thoughts before things happen because this is what I'm directing where I want to go. And that's that whole process through the 5-day webinar that I did. So this is the unintentional thinking. First, we have a circumstance. And right here, my circumstance I put in here is scheduling. So scheduling for me has been like a hot topic. I am a list maker, a task master. I want to make sure I'm doing the things I need to be doing. And a lot of times before I had done this work for myself, I would create these lists, and really I'd get some checked off, but a lot of things I wouldn't. And then I'd feel overwhelmed and exhausted, and I kind of go into this cycle. So here, I'm going to dissect that thinking that I'm having about my scheduling. And so my thought I was having about it is I need to change my schedule, which is something I noticed because I was very action orientated. Like, I need to do this action. If I just change my action, I'm going to get a different result. That's how I've always felt about things. And so I think I just need to make a different list. I need to maybe plan things differently. Maybe I'm more of a morning person. Maybe I'm more of a night person. Maybe I need to have this meeting then. And that would be my thought, is that if I just rearranged my schedule differently, I would get more things done. And I'm not saying that that's not true or true, like either way. What I'm saying is that my driving factor is the thought I'm believing that I need to change my schedule. This is how I was feeling. I was believing this thought, that in order to make things more productive in my life, the circumstance, my scheduling, I just need to change it. Now, when I believed this, I felt tired and exhausted, kind of like I was talking about when if I just changed certain time slots, if I did these things differently, I'd get a better result. So I'm so focused on the action of what I need to do that this thought I need to change my schedule was draining. I'm feeling very tired from it. Now, when I'm tired, I don't know about you, I don't really want to do anything. And of course that makes sense because my mind wants to be efficient, kind of like we saw on that motivational triad, right? What motivates us? Do the easiest thing, whatever's pleasurable, avoid pain. So my mind believes that if I just change my schedule and become more efficient, then that's going to solve my problems. What my mind is not catching on to is that the thought I'm believing, this thought, may be a thought that's not serving me. Maybe it's keeping me stuck believing that it's my schedule. I keep on blaming it on something outside of me instead of realizing my schedule is a circumstance. My schedule doesn't make me tired. My thought about my schedule makes me tired because I'm believing I need to change my schedule. So when I'm tired, how do I show up? I hide. I avoid things. I don't change my schedule. Sometimes I'll do things and I'll do it with less energy because I still want to get those things checked off my list, right? So I'll do things, but it'll be less energy, or I'll just be kind of aggravated that I have to do it. And then I'll find excuses, lots of excuses for myself. Like, I'm too tired, I can't do that, I need to cancel this, and I'm late for an appointment. Oh, I'm so sorry I'm late. Like, always feeling like I'm behind the 8 ball. And so I'm making up all these excuses for myself. And doing that, I'm starting to feel more guilty, more like I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I still need to change my schedule. Realizing when I write it out and I put it into this model, this unintentional model, this is an unintentional thought I've had for a while, that it's the thought that is driving everything. It's not my scheduling. It's my thought that I need to change my schedule that's making me feel exhausted or tired. I'm hiding, I'm making excuses. And what's my result from that? I don't change. I don't change my schedule, or I might rearrange things here and there, but I'm not getting the results that I'm wanting. My results that I'm wanting is efficiency in a way that's like, it makes like, not efficiency like it's done and it's completed, but I'm looking for efficiency like this is who I am and this is how I show up. So I don't have to try to direct myself all the time in what I should do, which is a different energy, which is actually creation energy. When I start to become that way, I don't have to worry about all the small details because I believe I'm already in that form. I'm creating that. So right here is that very first step of creating that awareness or just seeing that unintentional model. And now that you've seen it, and now that you kind of see where it showed up in your life, your circumstance, your thought about the circumstance, your feeling, your action you take because you feel that way, and the results that you get. So everything below the C line is within our control. Everything in here is within our control. This right here, now the timing of our results aren't always in our control. That's one thing, right? Timing isn't always, but the way we perceive things, the way we behave around things, the way we respond to stuff, this is all within our control. My scheduling, as far as my calendar and my time, that is like just there. What I do with that, how I believe about it, that's up to me. So this is that first step in just creating like, oh, this is an unintentional thought I've been having. And then we're going to dive into the next one. The next video will be about sitting in awareness and observing this. Now you could change the thought. You could do that. You could change the thought to something that just feels better for the moment. But then again, that's your mind wanting to take the easy way. It wants to just change the thought and put on something new and just feel better for the moment, which it can do. There's nothing wrong with that. It's when we start to become aware that it's just for the moment and maybe it's not lasting. Maybe it's not quite that concrete that we're looking for. And if we could sit with it just a little bit more, we might find more information out of this that can be more helpful. And that is where sitting in awareness is really important, and just seeing this unintentional model for what it is and then deciding how you want to move forward. Because going to like excited or exhilarated or determined from tired is a big jump. What I recommend doing is let's find out why you're feeling tired, which is our thoughts, right? This is why I'm feeling this way. And because of that, now that we see it, now what's the next step? How do I get to maybe, instead of tired, just maybe feeling calm? Not excited, not exhilarated, but just calm. So then I can start to form what it is that I want to do and get to a point where I can go, oh, now I'm determined. Now I know what I need to do when it comes to scheduling or using my time wisely. And then it makes a shift in your life. So sitting in awareness is a key thing in doing. And we are going to talk about that in the next video.